is our healthy, easy breakfast potatoes. So we've got a very large potato. I like to keep the skins on because that's where the fiber is. And so I always want to make things really easy for me. I want kind of a flat surface, so I cut that potato in half. I then go ahead, again, depending on the size of your potato, you want to cut it into thirds. I'm just going to go ahead and put these in the boiling water for just about 5 minutes. And again, really what we're just looking to do is to kind of partially cook them. You can use red bliss potatoes, golden potatoes, so don't feel you have to be stuck using a russet potato. So from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be cutting some peppers. So I kind of joke, this is a pepper, not a pumpkin. We're not carving anything out of it, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to just use your wrist, okay, and lift up. So I'm just going to lift up and I'm going to drive in. Now what I can do is I can turn it over and I can see where the seeds are. Now, keeping the pepper here, I can now just kind of cut around it, right? And never bother the seeds. And I can get super picky if I'd like to and just kind of spin. So from here, what I'm going to do is skin side down, okay? And I'm gonna start out here. Now remember, we wanna cut these peppers of similar size as the potato. If we were doing like a rice pilaf, we would want these peppers really nice and fine and small, just like the size of rice. So keep that in mind. Again, yes, they are going to cook. As they cook, they get a little smaller. So I'm going to just kind of cut some strips. And then again, so always think I've got a plank I go to stick I go to chop, right? And sometimes that means mince. It just kind of depends. So I'm gonna put that to the side. Now, thinking kind of bigger picture, maybe, hypothetically, we don't need all of this pepper on this one particular. What we could do is we could dice, 2 of these sides of the pepper, and that's gonna go in for my scrambled eggs, or that's gonna go in for my chili, or something else, right? So again, we don't wanna put a piece of pepper or onion or anything back in the fridge that still needs to be cut. Go ahead, give it a cut, and then you can have a plan for it. So almost done here. So there's our red. Now I understand that red peppers tend to be more expensive, but it really does add some really nice eye color to it, and you're a little bit more apt to eat it and enjoy. And again, we can kind of spin this, go around, okay? You're hopefully kind of noticing as I'm cutting these is I'm not cutting way out here. I tend to see most people kind of cut farther away from their body. They have more power, more control the closer they are to the body. So I'm gonna keep the knife kind of farther out because that's what's gonna drive it, right? And I'm also using more of the back of the knife. And a lot of times what I see people when they're holding the knife is they got their pointer finger here and they're kind of doing one of these, which is fine, but if you are working with a dull knife, you have a harder time kind of separating that skin from it. So on the side here, I have a bowl of potatoes already blanched, and we'll just add this to it. So again, just finishing up our last little piece of pepper. And again, the more vegetables, the merrier. And then we have our onion. This is kind of corny, but again, we're gonna kind of, what I say, cut off North Pole, cut off South Pole. At North Pole, we're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to peel it versus spending extra time trying to get that first outer layer off. And even when you have this where it looks like half of it's still good, just take that off. Same thing, we don't want the onions cut super small. We want them similar size. And again, so this would be considered kind of more like a rough chop. So once we're done here, we can drain our potatoes. Again, doesn't take a whole lot of time. We just want to get that initial kind of blanch. So we'll turn it off, go ahead and drain them. So we'll add these to the rest of our potatoes. We'll go ahead and we will throw in our onions and our peppers. And the fun thing is we could throw in zucchini, poblanos. If we wanted to spice this up a little bit, we could have some jalapenos. Huge bowl here. We've got our olive oil kind of pre-measured out. And then we've got our kosher salt already measured out. And then this is already measured granulated garlic, granulated onion. And then we'll just do some nice pepper. So we can toss it in the air, or we can just kind of stir it up. We could add fresh herbs to this, rosemary, thyme. From there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly spray a baking sheet, really lightly. Just because the potato is so starchy, we just wanna make sure that it doesn't create where it just really sticks. And then what we'll do is, again, we want to spread out, and it might take 2 baking sheets. It really just kind of depends, again, on those sizes. From here, we'll put it in the oven for about 25 to 35 minutes, just kind of give or take if we have it on convention or convectional cooking, okay? So I'll see you in a little bit. Breakfast potatoes are fresh, hot out of the oven. Look at all this nice goodness. What you can notice here is the vegetables are quite shriveled, and that's exactly what you want to be looking at, right? Healthy and delicious breakfast potatoes. Thanks for joining me today. And for more awesome healthy recipes, you can find my book, Cook Smart, Eat Well, anywhere you buy books.